We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle again.
Hi, my name is Cyan Burkhart.
My name is Jayla Oldfield.
My name is Dennis Blasey.
My name is Kathleen Hanks.
And this is our video on Death by Landscape, which was,
I'm Margaret Atwood.
yeah, that. Yeah. All right. Margaret Atwood was born in November in 1939 in a town called Atwood, Canada. Well, that's, I think, the city, but whatever. Anyways, she had her first book published in 1961, so that was like almost 40 years, 30 years, something like that. 20 years. Anyways, the book was called Double Persephone. So, she was, of course, raised in Canada. Her father was a professor of zoology, which meant that she was raised basically all around Canada. She grew up in what was in, they had a house, but they also had a little like camp, or a cabin up in northern Canada in what was called the Bush, and that's where she spent almost half of her time there, because she would go with her father whenever he would go out to do his zoology stuff, to like go find animals. She also, her mother went up there too, and her mother is who taught them how to like read in their early education before they actually went to school. And in her biography, Margaret Atwood states that she only learned to read so that she could read comic books, and this was, she said it was, she read not only Marvel, but Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and all of them, which she had said her favorite superhero though was Plastic Man. When she was in high school, at age 16, she decided that was when she wanted to be a writer, and so that's where she decided to pursue her goal of being a writer. She was inspired by Edgar Allan Poe and Shelley. By high school, she had already finished reading all of Poe's work. She graduated college in 1961, which was also the year that she published her first book, which was Persephone. She graduated with a Bachelor's of Arts in English, and she finished her master's degree in 1962. She continued to do her doctorate, but she did not finish it at all. So that was that. And now I present Miss Cyan Burkhart.
All right. So this internationally known writer had won many awards. She wrote, her major works are The Circle Game, and a singer by the name of I think I'm saying this wrong, Joni Mitchell, I think. She's a Canadian singer, found inspiration from the Circle Game poetry and wrote her own song. And then her novels include Oxford and Crack, The Blind Assassin, and The Handmaid's Tale. And The Handmaid's Tale is probably the most well-known novel because it's a series on Hulu. It was an opera, and it was a film in the 1990s. And definitely one of her major works is Death by Landscape. And then I will be talking about her awards for her publication. For The Circle Game, she won the Governor General Award and the E.J. Pratt Medal. For The Handmaid's Tale, she won the Governor General Literary Award for English Language Fiction and the Arthur C. Clarke Award. And then The Blind Assassin was the Booker Prize and shortlisted for the IMPAC Dublin Literary Award. And then, I think I'm saying this wrong, Oxford and Crack was shortlisted for the Man the Man Booker Prize, the Giller Prize, and the Governor General Award for Fiction, and the Orange Prize. I now introduce Jayla.
Now I will be doing an overall summary of Death by Landscape. So the story starts off with Lois being in her apartment in Toronto. She had just moved there, and her children have moved out, and her husband has just died. As the narrator pans across her room, it says that she has walls and walls of art. And she then collected, back then, little-known artists, who then eventually became more famous artists. But as she's looking at her painting, she thinks back to a time when she was younger, specifically about 14, when she went to Camp Manitou. Now, when she was 14, she had a little bit of a traumatic experience on a canoe trip while she was at camp. Now, her counselor was named Kathy, and the camp that she went to, she loved, but it was very slowly deteriorating. While she was there, Lois ended up becoming best friends with a girl named Lucy. Now, Lucy was wild and carefree and didn't really think about what anybody else thought about her. Lois, on the other hand, was a little different. She was a little more reserved, a little more quiet, and a little awkward, like I think we all are. One night, they decided to go on a weekend canoeing trip, so they stopped on a little lake, as they were canoeing across the lake. They were singing and they were having fun with Lucy, Lois, Kip, and Pat. So they camped at Little Birch for one of the nights, and then their next stop was Lookout Point. Now, Lookout Point had a really big cliff. It had a beautiful view, so that's where they were going. When they finally landed at Lookout Point, Lois and Lucy decided that they were going to go climbing while Kip and Pat made lunch. While they're up there and enjoying the view, Lucy went to the restroom behind one of the rocks, so Lois, of course, waited patiently behind, waiting for her to finish. But she never saw Lucy. She thought it was taking her a little bit of a long time, but while she was waiting, she heard a scream. She went and ran over to where the rock was and looked to find Lucy, but she couldn't find Lucy. She ran screaming back down to Kip and Pat, trying to explain to them what happened, but they couldn't quite believe that Lucy just disappeared. When they got back to camp, Kathy asks Lois if she had been angry with Lucy before, and Lois very confusedly says no, that she wasn't. And then Kathy did something that Lois couldn't quite understand at the time, and indirectly asks her if she had pushed Lucy off the cliff. The story then brings back to the future, and which is about 20 years later, and now that Lois is older, she realizes that what Kathy had been doing was trying to find a more plausible reason for the camp to fail. It was getting old, and it possibly could have been losing money, but maybe Kathy was trying to blame Lois for the death of Lucy and indirectly blaming her for the loss of the camp. Because Lois is really missing her friend Lucy, she collects all these paintings that remind her of the landscape that she and Lucy loved to enjoy, and one of her fondest memories, and one of her last memories with Lucy. So this is why she collects all those paintings, in order to remind herself of Lucy forever.
Okay, so interesting facts. Camp Manitou is a real camp in Canada. So yeah, founded in 1959 as an art center. In 1980, Manitou specialized in 22 programs for sports and arts. And they started including younger campers, 7 to 11-year-olds. That's cool. Death by Landscape is told as flashbacks, as something that Lois is remembering. Story isn't based in the U.S., it is based in Canada, like it says. But it's told in present tense with an omnipotent narrator. The year the story takes place is not particularly specified, so. Now, there is a connection between Lucy and the famous Canadian landscape painter Tom Thompson, who tragically drowned. Possibly a suicide, not exactly certain. but it's ruled as an accident, so, in Canoe Lake. We're excited.
This presentation is brought to you by the letter W for We're Excited.